Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Nature's Formidable Tremors. Today, we are more than pleased to have guest speakers Dr. Dayan and Professor Shahid to share with us how they plan to protect LEDCs from the threats of an earthquake. Hello gentlemen, would you care to give us a short introduction to your plans?
In many LEDCs, buildings are made of poor materials and have almost no proper structures to them, and hence they collapse within seconds during an earthquake. This was evident in the 2010 Haiti earthquake, where 250,000 people tragically lost their lives, mostly due to the poor construction of buildings. Hence, Professor Shahid and I wish for this to never happen again and have come up with a possible solution.
Wow, that is some truly meaningful work you are doing. So, how exactly do you plan to tackle these issues in LEDCs?
As mentioned earlier, the buildings in LEDCs are made of poor materials, obviously due to the expensive cost of better, stronger, and more suitable materials. Hence, in this prototype, we used satay sticks and blue tacks only. In the actual construction of houses, we suggest using cheaper materials like brick, concrete, stone, and cement as compared to expensive steel. Better buildings would have saved lives, says Chuck Demetz, a tectonic geologist from the University of Wisconsin-Madison, referring to the Haiti 2010 earthquake. Since we cannot strengthen the material itself, we decided to make changes to the beams and the joints. Chevron bases are a common configuration for providing lateral load resistance in buildings. Given the optimum brace angle 45 degrees plus minus, our brace takes a perspective of 50 degrees. As the brace is put at joints, which hence requires more upward force to hold the floors in place. Thus, the structural beams of the floor above are prevented from moving much when the lateral seismic forces are applied on the walls. Chevron bracing is typically used in low-rise buildings, hence it is a rare type of bracing used when constructing high-rise and famous buildings. However, since it is targeted at LEDCs, there is no need to build high-rise and modern buildings, but rather sturdy low-rise houses to accommodate the people.
So, you mean by tactically strengthening the joints, you are able to reinforce the building structure to withstand more lateral loads. However, won't stiffer joints mean that they break more easily as they absorb too much force?
Yes, indeed. Before I touch on that, it will be easier if you understand how the building was constructed. The building was constructed separately and pieced together in the following order: floor, chevron brace, and floor. Hence, when adding a new construction element to the existing frame, an abutment joint is often used to allow the floors to mend without the joint breaking. This tends to happen because the building material hardens after a while. In addition, the use of abutment joints allows free movement between new and existing structures in a building. In this case, we make use of abutment joints to allow the beams to move to absorb the force better when the seismic lateral force strikes. Therefore, this results in the need for chevron joints as mentioned before so that the joints do not break. As you can see, these two techniques work hand in hand.
Largely on lateral movement and the building's resistance. However, how do you also ensure that it can handle longitudinal weight movement as it shifts about when the building moves?
Weight distribution is very important when the earthquake strikes so that the building does not collapse. In our building, each joint consists of 3 or more beams. The main joints on the second floor are the 6 joints that shape the pentagon. These have 9 beams, 3 from above and 4 leading below. The presence of many joining pieces in each joint ensures that the forces redirect and hit the ground to be almost evenly distributed, so there should never be an uneven weight distribution that can cause the fall of the building. These joints between levels is why more vibration can be seen when the building was on the earthquake simulation table. The use of these seismic joints accommodate movements in both orthogonal directions simultaneously, and their spacing is not typically affected by building length or size. They play an important role in allowing the floors to move. This movement in our building greatly reduces vibration of the building. Uneven weight distribution is a force that pushes the building down with different magnitudes at different longitudes. The seismic joints that cause the lateral movements of the levels help shift the weight of the building. Hence, if any longitude of the building were to have more weight than the other, it would be evenly distributed.
Interesting. Do you have any specific seismic retrofitting techniques used in this structure?
Of course, supporting pillars are present at every floor and chevron joint. We also engage strengthening of individual footings to adhere the footings to the ground. We include mass reduction by using light materials and many but in small measurements.
So how exactly do you plan to implement this in cities?
With reference to Haiti's 2010 earthquake, their population was in deep poverty, where many are housed in poor and densely packed shantytowns and badly constructed buildings. Hence, the devastation was greater. The poor infrastructure of houses and buildings led to them collapsing quickly, giving the people little to no time to escape. With our improved building design, it will be able to withstand earthquakes and give sufficient time for the people to escape. Our dome-like structure is suitable to be built for low-rise flats or important buildings like museums and government buildings, as it is also aesthetically pleasing.
Wow, thank you Dr. Dayan. Those are some brilliant ideas indeed. Does Professor Shahid have anything else to add on?
We have still yet to discuss the safety measures of what to do before, during, and after an earthquake. Before the earthquake, it is important to make sure you have a fire extinguisher in case of fires and a first aid kit in case of injuries. Remember not to leave heavy objects on the shelf since they will fall during the earthquake and may cause physical damage. During the earthquake, you need to stay calm. Please take deep breaths to reduce the tension that you are feeling during that moment, so you can think clearly. If you are indoors, stand against a wall near the center of the building or stand in the doorway and crawl under heavy furniture. For example, a desk or a table. Don't use elevators as they will probably get stuck. If you are inside the car, stay inside until the earthquake is over. If you're outdoors, stay in the open, away from buildings and power lines or anything that can fall over and kill you. After the earthquake, check yourself for any injuries and provide first aid for anyone who needs it. Furthermore, please stay away from beaches because tsunamis and seeches sometimes hit after the ground stops shaking. These are basic safety measures that one should take to mitigate the damage done by the earthquake on human life. I would also like to elaborate on our dimensions. We have a scale reading of 1 cm is to 0.3 meters. Hence, the building will be about 10.5 meters tall, and each level about 3 meters tall. Hence, it could easily house multiple families by partitioning the space inside.
Wow, these are some really great ideas that I personally feel will help save so many lives in the future. Now, let us watch a quick video on how their prototype will work under earthquake circumstances. All in all, a truly spectacular design here that seems to heavily withstand the threats of an earthquake. Thank you so much Dr. Dayan and Professor Shahid for joining us today and sharing these amazing ideas. We truly hope that it will be implemented soon so that many lives can be saved. Goodbye everyone, and we'll see you in the next one.